A crib sheet aid for board members. This video will assist board members in translating the account numbers found in the Wisconsin Uniform Financial Accounting Requirements Handbook. The account number structure used in Wisconsin's K-12 public school districts consists of 7 distinctive elements. In the upcoming slides, I will show you and explain each specific element comprised within the account number. The first element of the account number is the fund. While there are many funds within the accounting system, 4 are predominant. The general fund, in which most activity of the district is recorded, is known as the 10 fund. The special education fund, recording expenditures and revenues associated with activities involving the special needs children, is identified as 27. The food service fund records all expenditures and receipts for activities involved in the food service program of the school. It is coded as 50. Community service fund records all receipts and disbursements associated with activities and programs delivering services to the public as a whole. That is coded as 80. The second element of the account number is an alpha field identifying whether or not the account number being used is an expenditure account or a revenue account. The use of E identifies the account number as an expenditure account. An R identifies the account as a revenue account. The third element of the account number is location. The 100 series of numbers is used to break out the various elementary schools within a given district. The 300 series identifies junior high schools. The 400 series identifies senior high schools. The 800 and 900 series identify various district-wide activities and special programs. A way to remember these numbers is to recall how students progress through schools. Children begin in elementary schools, therefore the 100. If a middle school is in the district, they go through that process, which is identified as a 200. Then on to junior high school, which is the 300, and then on to high school, a 400. Each school district is allowed to assign unique location numbers within the general description. In this example, 828 is being used within a specific school district to identify a specific activity. You can look at any one of your account numbers, secure a copy of the local handbook that would describe the location numbers, and translate what that specific number may mean in your district. In this particular example, 828 has a specific meaning. The meaning being used by the district with this 828 identifies that as the department belonging to the special education director. The fourth element of the account number identifies the object. 100 series identifies salary, 200 series identifies benefits, 300 series identifies purchased services, 400 series identifies non-capital objects, the 500 series, capital objects, 600, debt retirement, 700, insurance and judgments, 800, transfers, 900, other miscellaneous items. WUFAR is a hierarchical system. So, for example, when dealing with the 300 series, it is broken out into 310, 320, through 390, etc. And below that, the 340s are divided into 341, 342, and etc. Again, using your locally generated description sheet for objects, look up your district's account object for 342. Since this is prescribed by the DPI in its handbook, the 342 does carry a specific meaning which should be found in every district in the state. 342, statewide, is used to identify employee travel. The fifth element of the account number describes function. For example, the 100,000 series describes instruction. Any function number beginning with a 1 indicates some functional activity that deals directly with students, teacher in front of the students. The 200,000 series describes activities involved in supporting the instructional process. The 300,000 series is used to describe activities found in the Community Education Fund. As mentioned earlier, WUFAR is a hierarchical system. Looking just at the 100,000 series, you can see it is broken down into 110,000, 120,000, 130,000, etc. Within the 120,000, it's further broken down into 121,000, meaning art, 122,000, meaning English. What many people don't realize is that that actually is an alphabetical breakout within the regular curriculum. So art and English begin 121 and 122,000, followed by 123, foreign language. Using the WUFAR manual or a locally generated printout providing the meanings for the account element function, look up 156600 and identify its meaning. Because it begins with a 1 in the 100,000 series, it means it involves instruction. It involves a student and a teacher in a classroom. The next digit, the 5, indicates that it involves special education. So 150,000 series accounts deal with education. Specifically, the 156600 deals with speech language. The sixth element of the account number is program project. Typically, it carries a 000 identification, meaning no program or project is involved in this account number. But some do have account number activity. A 141 identifies the ECIA 1 type federal project. Flow-through is 341. 152 identifies it as a Title VI activity, and in some series of these numbers, local districts have the ability to identify special programs. For example, 605 in a specific district has a meaning of 4K program. If you're in the federal project area, you may also see, or in fact you will see, instead of 3 zeros, you will see either a project number like 341, or you will see a 011, meaning it is an aidable activity, aidable for state handicapped aid, or a 019, which means it is non-aidable. The seventh element of the account number is fiscal year. In this example, a 2 is being used, meaning the 2011-12 school year. In the account number, fiscal year is usually used only in conjunction with the federal or state projects. So typically, if you see a fiscal year, it is accompanied by a federal project like 341 flow-through. Oftentimes, account numbers carry 000 in the project number and 0 in the fiscal year, meaning that neither project number or fiscal year is being utilized. Pictured here is a line from the monthly bill report produced on the Skyward software system. You could use any report with similar information from any other vendor to accomplish the same outcome. But referring to this example, you have a check number indicated, a check date, an account number, a vendor name, an invoice description, and a dollar amount. In this particular example, the 10 is identifying the general fund. The E is identifying this account number as an expenditure account. The 120 identifies this location as an elementary level location. Specifically in the hierarchical structure used within this school district, the 20 in the 120 identifies this location as 4K. The object number of 310 is common throughout the state in all school districts and identifies this as a purchased service. The 110,000 function means undifferentiated curriculum is used exclusively in the elementary schools and is common statewide. The project number of 605 is a locally defined series of numbers, and in this case means 4K project. It can mean something different in another school district. The 0 is used in this particular case in the fiscal year because the project number 605 is not a federal or a state project, but simply a locally identified number. Add check number, check date, vendor, invoice description, and amount, and a great deal of data is actually disclosed. Using the information I have provided you, you can now translate the account number and billing information into a narrative statement. In this line example, a board member can now know on their own that check number 256-878 was a general fund purchase of personal services connected with the Gazelle Institute at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Furthermore, the purchase was in support of the district's 4K elementary program. Now let's translate another line from the monthly bills report and see how we can do with this account number. The 27 indicates it is a special education fund activity. The E identifies this item as an expenditure. The 829 is a locally defined number, identifying this as the psychologist location. 342 is a statewide standard number indicating that this is employee travel. The function 215,000 is a statewide accepted use identifying psychological services. 341 is a project number identifying this as a flow-through project. And the 2 indicates that this occurs in fiscal year 2011-12. The other information is identifying that the check was payable to Ian Helberg, a school psychologist, for September mileage reimbursement paid for by the flow-through grant. Translating this line of information into a narrative statement, a board member can now know on their own that check number 256-883 was a special education fund purchase for a psychologist's employee travel connected with this year's federal flow-through project. Furthermore, it identifies Ian Hallberg as a psychologist and that reimbursement amounted to $89.74. I have referred to this video as a crib sheet aid for board members. Using this video, along with supporting documentation, school board members can become far more self-reliant in finding the answers to their questions to items contained in bill listings. With repeated use of this video and the supporting documentation, board members will quickly be able to answer questions on their own.